You ever have one of those moments where you know everything is about to change, even if you can't quite put your finger on why? Yeah, that was the night when silence became Sarah's language, a silence so heavy it could fill a room and squeeze the air right out of it. 5 years of it. If you can imagine, not a single word since the night the world yanked the ground from under her feet. No matter how much she wanted to break free, her voice stayed locked somewhere deep inside, like it had slipped down a well she couldn't climb out of. That's how I found myself, well, not me, but Dr. Emily Watson sitting across from this tiny, stubborn 8-year-old girl in a consultation room, so sterile you could eat off the floor, with a clipboard fat with notes from every failed session you could imagine. Her adoptive parents, Mark and Linda, hovered off in the corner, worn thin from hope and worry, the kind that leaves grooves on your face and a tremor in your voice. "Sarah, can you tell me about this drawing?" Dr. Watson tried, gentle as could be, pointing at a crayon picture just a little figure standing alone in an endless empty field. Those blue eyes, sharp and full of storms, flicked up and studied the doctor, but her lips stayed zipped tight. Nothing. Not a sound. Linda couldn't keep still. "It's always the same," she whispered, like if she said it too loud it might break the child in two. "She draws, she listens, she'll nod or shake her head, but words. Never. Not a single word. You could hear her heart in every syllable. And when Mark reached over to squeeze her shoulder, it was like the two of them were hanging onto each other for dear life. The trauma, it's called selective mutism, they say. She saw too much. They say maybe she'll speak again, maybe not. But we can't give up. Ever." Dr. Watson just nodded. She'd seen a lot of kids broken by things they couldn't explain. Some found their way back, some never did. But there was something different about Sarah, like the silence was heavy, sure, but not empty. Like something lived in there, biding its time. Now outside, the Montana sky stretched on forever, rolling hills and cattle ranches that seemed to spill right out into the horizon. That's where the Hendersons had built their new life, a small ranch left to Mark by his father, peaceful, quiet, far from the chaos. Maybe they thought the wide open would heal Sarah's wounds. Maybe it did, a little. The drive home was quiet, sunlight slanting gold across the fields, Sarah pressed against the window, soaking in every detail, the hawk circling, the wind bending the grass, the kind of small things most people miss when they're talking too much. When Mark caught her eye in the rearview mirror, he grinned. "Want to help me feed the cattle, sweetheart?" Sarah lit up, nodding with the smallest, shyest smile. Those moments gave her parents hope that their little girl was still in there somewhere, waiting for the right reason to come back. Sarah found peace with the animals' hours spent perched on fence posts, watching the herd, her silence never a problem for the cows. Animals don't need words. They don't ask questions, don't stare with pity, don't expect you to fill the empty spaces. But one afternoon, everything changed. They rounded a bend, and Mark slammed the brakes, tires skidding on gravel. A massive black bull blocked the road, blood pooling under its side, labored breath fogging in the evening chill. Its eyes were open, dazed and hurting. One horn chipped, flank gashed, a truck must have hit it. It was a giant, probably 1,500 pounds, helpless and shivering as night crept in. You ever wonder what you'd do if you came across something that big and broken, lying in your way? Do you stop and help, or just drive around and forget? "Jesus," Mark muttered. "Linda," called Doc Martinez. "Tell him we've got a wounded bull, County Route 47. It's bad." Linda fumbled for her phone, hands shaking, heart pounding. Sarah was already moving, slipping from her seatbelt and reaching for the door. The sight of the bull hit her somewhere deep inside, like a memory waking up after a long sleep. She felt drawn to it, as if their pain recognized each other. Before anyone could stop her, Sarah was out of the car, walking toward the bull. Slow, calm, deliberate, like she'd done this 100 times. Linda's voice cracked. "Sarah, no." Pure panic, but Mark grabbed her arm. "Wait," he said, eyes wide. "Just wait. Look at her." The bull was massive, bleeding, and unpredictable, but Sarah knelt beside its head, hands trembling as she reached out. She wasn't scared. The bull wasn't either. There was a gentleness in its pain, a flicker of hope, like it recognized a kindred spirit in this quiet little girl. Their eyes, Mether's, and the bull sand in that moment. It was like something cracked inside her, ice breaking after a long, brutal winter. For the first time in 5 years, her lips parted and she whispered, "It's okay. I'm here." Her parents froze. Stunned, did they really just hear that? Can you believe sometimes we find our voice, not for ourselves, but for someone or something that needs it even more? Sarah's words came slowly at first, rusty and soft, but steadier with every sentence. "You're hurt," she told the bull, "but you're not alone. I know what it's like to be scared and have nobody understand. But you don't have to be afraid now." The bull's breathing eased. Sarah stroked his head, her touch gentle, like she'd been doing this her whole life. "When I was little," she whispered, "something bad happened. I couldn't talk anymore." The words just disappeared. Maybe they were waiting for you. The vet's truck rolled up, other ranchers trailing behind. Everyone staring as Sarah talked quietly to the bull, her parents' faces wet with tears. Dr. Martinez, tough old ranch vet, just shook his head. "Well, I'll be damned. In all my years, never seen anything like this. That bull should be panicking, but he's calm as still water." While the vet worked, Sarah didn't budge from the bull's side, murmuring stories about the ranch, the pastures, and the taste of the cold well water. The wounds, turns out, weren't as bad as they Luke had. No bones broken, no vital organs hit. "He's lucky," Doc said, "but even luckier you folks found him, man, that this little one knew how to keep him calm." Sarah asked, voice stronger now, "Can we take him home? He needs somewhere safe." "I think he chose us." Mark looked at Doc, who just nodded. "He'll need care, but if you're willing, we are," Mark said, voice thick. "We absolutely are. Would you have been brave enough to do what Sarah did?" "What do you think finally set her voice free?" "It took 4 grown men and a special lift to get that bull onto the trailer, Sarah never leaving his side. She called him Thunder because when she first saw him, something rumbled awake in her, like storm clouds cracking after a drought. On the drive back, Sarah talked nonstop, her voice filling the truck about Thunder, about everything she'd kept locked away all those years. It was like a flood had burst a dam. "I used to dream about talking," she told her parents. "But every time I tried, it was like a wall of stone in my throat. But Thunder needed me to speak, so I did. And the wall just disappeared." Linda smoothed Sarah's hair, tears in her eyes. "Why Thunder, honey? Why now?" Sarah thought about it, watching the ranch roll past the window. "Maybe we find our voices for someone else. Thunder was hurting and scared, like I was. He couldn't ask for help, so I had to speak for both of us." Thunder settled into the barn that night with fresh hay, water, and 3 neighboring ranchers helping out. Doc Martinez watched Sarah fuss over the bull, shaking his head in disbelief. "Animals and people, they connect in ways science can't explain," he told Mark. "That bull trusts her. That'll make all the difference." Sarah camped out in the barn, whispering stories to Thunder under the soft glow of a lantern, refusing to leave his side. As Linda tucked a blanket around her, Sarah said quietly, "Mom, can I tell you about the night my voice went away? I think I'm ready now." Thunder helped me remember voices aren't just for remembering scary things. They're for helping. Linda just nodded, heart in her throat. "And do you think finding someone else to care for can really help us heal the hurts we hide from the world?" Drop your thoughts below. Tell me what you do, what you believe, and if you think justice or even just a little hope can sometimes come from the most unexpected places.